So this week is all about customer engagement. One of the most important tools when you start getting more into your business.
That's correct.
But this week we actually focus on it more on a kind of B2C level, correct?
Yes.
And the reason being is that this week actually just finished TIC. TIC actually last day is this week, which is the Consumer Day, which is where they just said the general public worst day in my opinion. I voted. I actually went on Friday.
Right.
And TIC is the Trade Investment Convention. So I went in Friday and I went in at 9 o'clock. So it was before they officially opened at 10.
All right.
So I was able to actually see all of the booths. I was able to see everything that was happening.
Right.
To me, TIC looked way better than it did last year. I went last year and I went last year. You couldn't get a park, but when you went inside, it was empty because most of the cars was just the exhibitors. But this year was a completely different story. It really, really was quite a bit of a lot more business people went to actually look at the booths and stuff. I saw way more booths, way more variety in terms of companies that I didn't see in the previous years, and that to me was excellent. Also, what was really good is that I actually started speaking to some of the people who were there setting up their booths early, because I knew quite a few of them, and a lot of them did echo the same sentiments I had, that it really was better than it was last year. It really was better. Now, the question which I started to ask now was, how was people's engagement? Because that was the key factor behind it. Because one booth engagement, this was literally it. Oh, hi, good day. Looking for anything in particular? No, just take a flyer. And that was the end of it. They didn't ask anything else, they didn't do anything. And to me, that's my issue when you go to like these events, because I don't know if anybody's aware, but to go TIC is not cheap. It's really, really not cheap.
Yeah.
The cost behind it is quite expensive.
Well, let's be specific. When you say to go TIC as an exhibitor?
As an exhibitor,
right,
it's it's not cheap. It literally is an investment, but it could be a waste if it is that you don't equip your team to do the correct stuff.
Right.
So I had a few companies that I'm aware of, and I knew they were going to be in TIC, and my questions to them were, okay, what's your end objective in TIC? Is it that you want to do it just for data mining? Is it that you're trying to create brand awareness, or are you trying to actually capture potential customers?
So some sort of lead generation from a trade
Some
show.
sort of lead generation, which is the ultimate purpose, right? So, and then another mistake which I keep seeing a lot of companies doing is that, depending on the nature of the company, they hire promo reps, and these reps know nothing about the product. It's very basic. That to me, I can't understand why. How could you pay sometimes 3,000 or 5,000 US, and then they hire two people who know nothing about your product to man the booth for the entire 5 days?
You call them merchandisers because they would normally just set up, give it some aesthetics, make it look good, maybe answer one or two questions, but they're not the experts in the field.
So my thing is, which I see as the issue, is that customer engagement is one of the key things. It's being able to know and be aware of the environment that your company is in, whether it is you're going on a B2C level, B2B level, or you're at a trade expo, and understanding the cadence that the entire team needs to have.
Right.
Like what questions you're going to ask, what are the key things that you're going to look out. Again, the key thing is, what is the objective? Like what am I going to do?
Right.
What do I want to achieve when I go to these events? And that to me is the biggest issue I'm seeing with a lot of companies.
So let me ask this then, and then we can go further into the whole thing about the engagement, right? Because I remember you messaged me and you said, well, there's one particular company when you had a set of tins, without having to blast anybody, but they only had a set of tins of their product located.
I'm against that. I saw Berger.
All right.
I saw Berger, and Berger had just tins of paint on display, and I'm just thinking, yeah, but you're a paint company, you're not a tin company.
Right.
Why don't you have samples of paint? Why, as in on different materials, or
That's
showing
correct.
some sort of examples in terms of how the paint is applied,
Right.
not the paint tin. The paint tin is what I see in the stores.
But here's the thing with that too, right? You have engagement also has to do with capturing a customer's attention.
Correct.
So if I'm doing something, I'm passing by your store or your booth, it has to catch my attention.
It's what makes me stop to say,
That's correct, right?
like, ooh, what is this guy doing? This
and
is
then
different.
from there, where the objectives fall into place is that now that you, Jarrod, have walked into my booth, then I would ask you, not just if you're looking for anything. It's supposed to be as a matter of fact, at a trade show, when someone comes to your booth, and it's not a matter if you're coming to buy something there, you need to know you need to know a lot about Berger, you need to know a lot about my business. So let me tell you a couple of things. Let me tell you what we are all about.
You know what's really interesting? I think and this is me from a customer engagement perspective in regards to the expos. If I'm there in an expo, here's the thing I think should be most important. I find everybody should have a tagline or several taglines that they could use, like some really core facts to capture your attention.
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
So like if I'm, for example, you're talking about a paint company and it's local, everybody always thinks the foreign companies are better. What do you have as your leverage to show as a statement, like something really powerful to capture the person's attention?
What makes it interesting about your organization, about your product, that you can tell the customer that they didn't already know about?
Exactly, because the thing about it is intrigue. You want the person to stop,
That's
to
correct,
say, oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
And
Let
then
me
you
lean
go
in and find out
further.
more information.
Exactly. Then you go further because, so we're dealing with a little bit of, we're touching on a couple of things along the lines of marketing here, right?
Yeah.
But it's all part of sales and customer engagement, because at the end of the day, if someone walks into your showroom, the first thing that you have to do is, apart from just giving them a really good welcome, letting them feel appreciated that they walked in, is of course now giving them the ability to leave with information that they didn't already know, so that they can now do what? They can now take that to use that to get an additional sale, or they go on to tell somebody else.
Here's my number one priority in customer engagement. To me personally, the main thing is information, and it works on two levels. It's information that you give the client, and it's information that you can get from the client based on the information you have provided.
Correct.
I know it sounds like a tongue twister, but it's information that you give to the client so that they can provide information back to you. So for example, my perfect example of customer engagement is Payless. When last you went into Payless?
It's been a while.
Right. Payless to me has a consistent formula throughout all your stores. It's a cadence, it's a tone that they set. So as you walk into any Payless, they immediately say, hi, good day, we have a sale on all red tag items. Or hi, good day, buy one get one is all buy one get one free today. Or hi, good day, we have a sale on all insurance items.
All right.
So they say that to anybody that walks into the store, because remember, not everybody might be actually looking to buy, but at the same time, you want to give them some bit of information that makes them say, okay, let me go and check that item out. Because at the end of the day, if you are saying that your measurement against the effectiveness is to say, okay, based on the fact that we pushing everybody set this item up, that we're having a sale on kids' shoes, kids shoes was the most sold item on that day.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you provide the person with some sort of information. Then you take it to the next step where every person is actually walking around and they're actually looking at items. Then you go on the next level of engagement, which is they start asking something specific. Right? So I see you looking at the kids items, we have a sale. Can I give you a couple of shoes to try on?
Right. So here's what you're touching on here. So you're talking about the execution, right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing training to your reps, they also have to be trained to observe.
Correct.
So before you can tell someone that I saw you doing this, you have to be able to now teach your people and they. So we're touching here a little bit, guys, on what you should be teaching your reps to be doing, right? They need to be able to pay attention. So like for instance, when I was doing car sales and someone walked into the showroom, and even if they said, well, we're just having a look, I would say, great, thanks for coming in, but guess what? Within the next 2 to 3 minutes, I have something really interesting to tell you. And I just come back and give you that information. And the person always said, cool. While they were taking those 2 to 3 minutes looking around, if I found that there was something that they paused on for a little too long, I will make a note of that.
Create the message.
Exactly, specifically on that.
Basic engagement.
Anything that they paused on.
That's right, Michelle. Customer identification.
Yeah. Anything that they paused on a little too long on, that's what I knew that I would pay attention to. So when I go to speak with them, apart from me just telling them about the company and all these other different things or about the product, I can say, I saw you looking at this, right? Do you know that this was XYZ? Once the customer says, oh, I didn't know that, door open to go a little bit further.
You create your value message.
As Jarrod just said, customer engagement, let's break it down in a simpler word. Customer engagement is having a conversation, right?
Of value.
Of value, right?
And of value to the customer.
Exactly, with the potential customer. So it is really a matter of you being able to pay attention. You have to be aware, you have to be wise, you cannot be generic. Asking me, if you're looking for anything, you're getting through.
And I think everybody will give
questions.
Everybody could understand like the worst cases of customer engagement. So let's look at, for example, and I'll give it in the worst case, like detour. Like I don't know if anybody's walking to a detour store, and I'm not ponging them, as I say, just to show areas of improvement. You walk into a detour store and all they ask is, hi, do you need any help? No. And then they leave it. But what they do is that they follow you. And I think that's one of the most annoying things. That's not engagement.
They follow you around, but they keep a particular distance. I'll tell you where I've seen that too. I've seen that in other
But why
stores.
don't they suggest anything?
Well, that's what I was not going to say. Because, for instance, if you look at particular stores like, let's say, for instance, your Ati Logos, right?
Right.
To me, I think Ati Logos has some of the best shoes for women.
Right.
When I did the research and I did the thing on Piccadilly and everything else, all right, I got excited in my mind because I remember telling my aunt, I said, listen, if I was selling this thing, everybody would know how important your feet are in relation to you, especially as you get older, and why these shoes are supposed to be the best shoes for you. But again, there's nothing interesting in the store. There's no interesting dialogue. And if the people are not taught to do those things, to be engaging, to be creative, to create an opportunity where the customers say, I didn't even know that. Then, and it doesn't even have to be anything about your product. You can tell them something about the soles of the feet, flat-footed people, your calves. You understand?
Something.
You're leaving them with something.
I would even and look at the example of the shoes. So it just popped in my head. Like, why don't you just ask somebody? It might be a woman who walked in the store, hi, and do something opposite. So if she's wearing flats, hey, when's the last time you tried a nice pair of heels?
That's correct.
Right? And then explain to them the benefit of heels. Because it might be uncomfortable. This actual shoe provides the most comfort we've seen a woman. It's been a top seller for us.
Yeah.
Create some sort of engagement that makes the person say, okay, let me try it out and see. Because you're correct. With the Ati Logo stores, my wife stopped going there because woman used to be too good. She would leave for 2 shoes. It had because there's Ati Logo in West Mall. Had a lady who used to work in the Ati Logo in West Mall. My wife stopped going in the one in West Mall because she would have buy 2 shoes instead of 1.
Yeah.
And then she said, okay, I still like the shoes, so I'm going to go in long circle. And then they send the woman to long circle. She's like, oh crap. She's like, no. So it's all about the engagement level, guys. You really need to ask the correct questions that will get the customer thinking, but thinking of your product in a positive light, and get them to say, you know what, I never realized this, I never thought about this. This is something that may interest me. This is something that I want to put my money towards. This is something I want to invest some of my time in.
That's correct. Now, and so if we could let's flip it back to now the trade shows. So anyone that's looking at this, if you have any upcoming trade shows, I doubt that there are any more coming up, but some of the things that we would really want you guys to pay attention to is this. Yes, you want to be able to generate leads, but here's the thing that you can't be doing, especially at these events. You cannot be depending upon your call card, your booth, and your product to really do the work for you. Your people need to be engaging. People buy from people. If I can't have a conversation with Jarrod, if Jarrod walks into my store and he's wearing yellow, as he always does, I'm going to ask him something about yellow. That is how I'm going to start the conversation, and then say, I saw that you came into the store. Is there anything I can help you with? And you might say, boy, actually, you understand? So I didn't start off with, you want anything. I might just start off with something interesting about the individual. That is custom, that is training your staff to be engaging, but you have to train them to observe. If you're training them to be robotic, you're not going to get the traction that you're looking for in terms of generating leads, getting the awareness, and the interest about your product or service.
So when I went to, and as the conversation as when we originally started, so we were at TIC, I was at TIC, and so I came in early in the morning before everybody opened.
Yeah.
And then I stayed until 11 o'clock, so there were good bits of booths and everything that's open. And I kind of echoed my sentiments correctly, because when you spoke to a lot of them, you saw for the fact that some persons weren't able to correctly engage you to understand what was your purpose, to understand what you needed. And I'll give my example. So I remember when I was at DHL, we were doing our and this is actually funny, when I started DHL was the week before TIC. So we went into TIC. So we had training the week before, we went away for training, came back and we were in TIC the next 2 days.
Right.
And I remember one of my colleagues was saying, she's like, she don't think this is the right thing because we don't know much information. I was like, no, we don't need to know information, we need to ask for information.
That's correct.
And that was my thing. So I immediately had in my head, let's ask certain questions. So my thing was, when I saw somebody, my immediate question was, hey, hi, good day, thanks for just taking a quick step. When last you shipped an item? What did you ship? How was that experience?
Yeah.
Is it something that you're going to do again with the same company? Like, those are my questions, because I have a really strong business acumen from being in the business for years. There are very few company logos that I won't recognize and I don't know what to do.
All right.
So when I see the company, I ask the questions along those lines, because I know what you're probably shipping.
Exactly.
But you may throw me in a loophole and say, oh no, we're actually shipping these things. Okay, didn't know you guys did that. So let's try and push the conversation along that way. So you really should be prepared, and you should create the opportunities for your team to do the correct engagement. And I think for a lot of, I could just personally say it, for TIC from that standpoint, I could see companies themselves saying, we didn't get the value because we didn't attract customers. But my question to them would be like, were you asking the customers the right questions?
That's correct.
And then let's look at a most literal form of customer engagement. There were a few booths inside TIC where the table was in front of the tent. I'm like, no, your table's supposed to be at the back. Your staff should be at the front.
At the front.
So your staff was sitting behind the tables, which means a barrier for them for talking to customers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them I saw were on their phones, they were just doing other stuff, they weren't paying attention to the people that were passing.
Yeah.
And this might sound weird, you might say it's incorrect. When I was at any booth in DHL, every single customer that passed, I either said hello or I did something to start the conversation. Did not let any customer pass.
Well, you know, there's another part to that, right? So my question would have been to a marketing manager or to the CEO who's responsible for that marketing budget. What is it that you're just trying to check a box, meaning that you say, okay, you had a marketing event? Because at the end of the day, I've been to a number of different trade shows here and of course abroad. When you go to one of the trade shows and stuff abroad, you are fully engaged. As I was giving you the example when you called me on the day that we were talking about it initially, I walked into a virtual library. The wall was a wallpaper of just books and everything else, and then they had the product set up with the boards, with the electronic boards and everything else. And even if you didn't have the room to speak, because sometimes there were so many, as a matter of fact, the guys who were representing the respective companies, they were they were actually creating an audience.
Yeah.
They were saying things that were interesting and people were walking and stopping, or they were listening from a distance, but he knew that they were listening.
Exactly.
That is what you want to create when you're having, even if it's just in your mall or in your trade shows. You want to be able to have someone proficient enough to capture the audience.
Yes.
Gain your audience's attention, gain the awareness, get them up the ability to give interest, of course, with properly aligned value. This is what we do, this is how it can actually help you. But did you know that XYZ, even if you have a couple stats from your own business, everybody has data that is sitting on one another.
Everybody has data. Why you don't share it?
But you don't use it, and use it creatively to help boost your business.
So that's it at the end of the day, guys. Like, make investment worthwhile, but understand the fact that engagement is one of the key things you need to do in order to pique your customers' interest, in order to carry them through your sales process, because you want to keep them interested at every stage that they're in to understand the value. And the thing is, you know your value your best. I just think you don't literally see the potential in it, because you know exactly at each stage what the value you're presenting, what you're giving to each of your clients. You need to keep presenting that and keep engaging your clients along those bases to lead them to that sale, or to lead them, not even to the sale, to lead them to make a yes or no decision.
I just want to say one more thing.
Yes,
and that would be to the sales professionals, sales people. Here's what I really need for you guys to do. I need for you all to really focus on building your skills. That level of engagement skills is not always going to come from your sales manager or the organization. It has to come from you. You have to genuinely be interested in capturing this customer's attention, because guess what? You have a commission to make, you have a target to hit. Yeah. But so if it is that you realize that just standing up and asking people if you're getting through and if I can help you with anything is not putting a commission in your pocket, then what are you going to do? Say sales slow? No.
They always use these sales slow. No, not sales slow. Your engagement sucks.
You know. So our message to sales, because this is really just much as we spoke about the business, this is really for our colleagues, sales colleagues. Your level of engagement needs to improve. You can reach out to Jarrod, you can reach out to myself. I love talking to people. Yeah. You understand? Just to find out that's exactly how we can actually help you, and sharing tips as to how you want to be able to engage trade shows publicly. We know sometimes that you may have someone who is walking into your store and they may not come in with the best attitudes, but you know what? You can't reciprocate that.
You want to give them the best of value.
You want to give them the best of yourself, the best of your organization, and the best value. So you need to beef up your skills.
Just want to hail out Richmond once, because she said the same point you were saying, Lyndon, which is there should always be constant training and daily briefings with staff to update them on current promotions, etc., to inform customers on. So I think that's exactly what Payless does. Right? Because she's also saying, like, you're walking to Pennywise, 10,000 staff, but they can't tell you anything. That's what's going on. I would say there are very few staff in Pennywise that could actually tell you something of value. That's why I think if you notice at Pennywise Richmond, they switched their strategy where all the shelves are open now.
Yep.
Because the staff isn't providing the value.
Well, you know, and that ties back into a conversation I was having on Friday, the online conversation I was having with Jarrod from Cubicle, and
Right.
where we were talking about, it really came down to, so do you really need all that stuff in your store? You understand? No, this is not. This is not to, of course, this is not to create unemployment. But at the end of the day, do I really need all of that stuff in my store if these people are not adding the value towards boosting the sales?
Yeah.
That's a question that store owners have to answer.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just me, personally. But, and then I'll give it another level. So I was actually talking to one of the GMs for one of the cell phone franchises here in Trinidad. And I was telling her about one of her particular stores where I said that store should be a gold mine, the store.
Yeah.
Because it's in downtown Port of Spain. And I keep saying, no, like, you should always have 2 people on the floor. And she's like, no, we do have the staff and everything. It's like, no, but there's opportunity. Put people on the floor, teach them how to engage with customers to get them to the sale and get them in the install to the fastest way possible.
I mean, you keep saying that, and so many additional ideas, but we're going to carry this conversation on forever. But there are many different ways that you can actually go about engaging, and engagement is a really important part of capturing your customers' awareness. Salespeople, you have a big part to play in that.
Yes.
It's not just a matter of your storefront and the mall not attracting people or your store not attracting people. You have a
factor. So if you want to talk to Lyndon and I more on it, we're always around. You'll always see us on social media. So reach out to us. We love to talk sales. Don't forget, Sales as a Profession Mixer, number 2, July 26th. Häagen-Dazs in West Mall. So look out for us. You're all invited. We just want to talk sales.
Yep.
All right? Have a good day, everyone.
Peace.
Happy Sunday.